guys, I'm Linda.
I'm Margie.
I'm Keith.
And we are Partners in Crime.
Tracy is a friend of Alex Cox. They were both stand-up comedians. They performed in different places in Phoenix. So basically, one night, Mary and Alex were in the same comedian lineup, or comic lineup, and they walked up to each other, and they're like, "Oh, you're pretty funny." And so that was basically how the friendship kind of started. They would see each other at different shows. And I think one time Mary was saying that she just had a horrible performance and just was feeling very insecure. And so she called Alex up, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Come over my house. Come help me paint the bathroom." And that just kind of basically bonded them together. And from that, they just started writing jokes together. So they kind of knew each other on a very surface level, joking, funny level, basically, where it wasn't very deep. And even if it was deep, it wasn't seen as something that was deep because everything was said in jest.
Yes.
So a lot of things Mary would evaluate in the relationship in the present time, she would always think, "Oh, well, he's just joking," because he would say it as a joke. It wasn't until later when she would look back on these things that he would say that she would be like, "Oh, okay, maybe there was something more to this kind of dark joke that he was mentioning." On February 15th, Mary's birthday, that was actually when she had a friend on Facebook that was a mutual friend with her and Alex said, "Hey, have you seen that episode on Dateline about Alex?" And found out that he's dead." And she's like, "Wait, what?"
Oh my goodness.
And so she had no idea. So actually on her birthday, that's when she found out all the stuff was happening with Alex, that he was dead. So she didn't know any of that. She actually ended up meeting Lori and their whole family. I'm gonna rewind back when Alex was in jail for harassing.
Tasing Joe. Yeah, Joe Ryan, Lori's ex-husband.
Yeah, so Joe Ryan, Lori's ex-husband, there was rumors that he was molesting Tylee, and basically there developed some animosity, obviously, towards Joe from Alex, and
which he was found that he was not molesting Tylee or Colby, her son. So
when did they find that out?
When they were going through all of the
because in the 2020 thing last night, Colby said he did.
Right, but Colby said he did. We don't know how his mother influenced that.
Of course.
And maybe he actually thought, but when it comes to molestation, maybe she said certain things were, and they're not.
Oh, where he was
we just don't
disciplining
know.
him.
Yeah. So there's a lot of gray area there, but he was found that he did not molest the child.
Yeah, and I think there were the two experts too that said, "Oh, we do not think either one of them was molested by him." And you just saw his character and how he was, and how he was so excited to have a girl because he had two boys before that, and so it didn't make any sense. He felt like their lawyer was probably behind some sort of manipulation of that. So Mary is kind of blindsided by all this stuff happening. So when she finds out Alex is dead, she just rewinds the tape in her mind and goes back to conversations they've had and tries to think, is there any experiences that I missed? Is there any things that he said to me that I should have paid more attention? She said, "I really regret I should have paid more attention when we talked about his family."
It was hard,
she thought it was very, I think I was back to when she was at their house, she thought it was very odd that, so they kept the Sunday football entries. Every Sunday they'd write about, "Oh, I picked this team to win," or "I picked that team to win." But what she thought was very weird is that the family always talked about how close they were, but she remembers going back to all of the shows that she was at of Alex's that no one was there from his family.
Yeah, they didn't support each other.
Yeah, so that was a very odd thing to her. So she kind of started picking up on these small things. And she think, okay, if we're supportive of somebody, why is nobody at his shows? At her show, for her, she had all her family there. Everyone was there to support her. She believes that Alex was manipulated by Lori. She feels from what she knows about him, whenever she saw him like whenever people needed like help moving, whenever she was like had a bad show, he was always like running to help and offer like, let me make you feel better about this. Like she did recognize that he didn't share his emotions. Like he wouldn't say he was disappointed about something, but she could tell like by his reaction of like, I don't care if a situation didn't work out with him and a girl he was trying to date and it just kind of fell out. She was like, oh, I don't care about that. But she was like, he didn't really go into the emotions, and he didn't go into the emotions with her of her experiences with things. So she recognized there's a lack of emotional connection. They shared she did share that they shared different like viewpoints, that he is in the whole Mormonism thing and she was not, and that when he was in jail that he would send her scriptures, and she felt like he was kind of trying to, in one way, wanted their friendship to go to a more intimate, not sexually, just a more intimate, close relationship. That the Mormonism and the religion was a part of that, and so she felt he kept pushing that to try to maybe make the relationship more than just a surface. Like let's tell jokes and joke about things to each other.
And he did also have one of his sisters send her the Book of Mormon as well. I don't know which sister. I don't know if it was Lori or
so he was
his other
trying
sister.
To recruit her?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, even though he was excommunicated.
So. At that time, he was excommunicated?
Yes, he was excommunicated in 2007, around that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's the other thing, like she said, he was affected by that, but he didn't go into the detail about that.
Right.
She also mentioned how she was moving. When she was moving from Phoenix, her friend put together a comic show fundraiser, and he didn't show up. And so there were small things like that where she was like, okay, well, maybe it was too painful. She didn't know if she was projecting that it was too painful for him to show up, or like maybe there were these other sides of him that she didn't know. So she was trying to have a hard time. Okay, what's the Alex I know before the February 15th of him being dead, of this guy that would always joke about things? And then after the fact, she felt like there might have been another side of him that was in pain and that was, kind of vulnerable to being manipulated and doing these things for his sister. That in his anger and these things that he wasn't dealing with, that kind of he used comedy to deal with. And so, I mean, it was very interesting for me to kind of look at that, because you're like, okay, you hear all the negative sides of him, like, being Lori's basically side person to kill all these people, allegedly kill these people, and then you see that she's representing Alex in a way of, wow, he's like this sympathetic, empathetic guy that would help people out and do things for them, which does make sense, because if someone was a narcissist, who would they look to do, who would want to do stuff for them? Someone that would be easily manipulated and want to help people and feel bad to not help people. So it seemed like Alex could be a very easy target. And plus it being his sister, if she could easily say a story about, oh, my husband's mistreating me or whatever, to get him to step in. And I feel like have him do the dirty work so she's not actually committing the crime.
Right, exactly. Yep. And then, did you have anything else?
Let's see.
Because I'm going to dive into Alex a little bit, too.
Yeah, so I mean, they did have a very deep, she says they had a service level relationship, but on one level, it seemed like they knew each other pretty well, because she said they talked 2 to 3 times on the phone. Even after they moved, even after she moved, they still kept in contact. Whenever he was driving through, and when he drove trucks, they'd always go and have lunch. But she said that she did notice that, like, he didn't care about being in jail. Like, he felt like, he felt that Joe was molesting, the kids, and so he felt justified in harassing him. So she thought that was kind of odd that he didn't have any remorse for that, because even if he was, if he felt Joe was guilty for that, like, you think he'd have some sort of remorse for that.
And he also did, in jest, ask her to, first he asked her to say that she had found a child pornography, Joe looking at child pornography or something like that, and she's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yes, so I picked up on that. I was like, so he was, I saw that, and he recognized that maybe he was like testing her to see what he could get her to do too. So that was a little bit of a manipulation that kind of surfaced on his end.
Alex, wait a minute, Alex asked Mary to say that
he saw pornography on Joe's computer
Well, how the heck how is they connected? So Alex and Mary are doing this stand-up comedy thing.
Yeah.
Now you're throwing in Joe Ryan.
Because
How's he connected?
because Joe's Lori's ex-husband.
I know that,
Yeah.
but how the heck does
Well, they're
Mary
in
involved?
Arizona.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They did visit the family and
Yeah.
all, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right
They
after
lived
Joe got out of
together.
right after Alex got out of prison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they can make up some story.
So-
Doesn't have to be true.
So Alex asked Mary to claim that she saw child pornography on Joe's phone.
Right.
Yeah, to justify, to kind of plant, to make
Oh.
it, to prove that he's molesting, to
Because
prove
it-
there's some sort of like,
At this point,
Well,
they're still in court trying to decide.
I get the reason
custody.
why he
Yeah.
would do that, but it's just like I just wonder how hard is it? How easy is it to convince somebody to go along with something like that when it's not true? Or he may have been, obviously there was some stories. There was Lori accusing him of molesting the kids, and I'm assuming that went on for a period of time. And
Oh, yeah,
Alex
they were
is
in court
involved in
for a
talking
while.
about it. He's
Yeah.
probably bringing it up to her,
Yeah.
and he's like, and it's convincing that it's absolutely true. And it's like, well, we could really prove it. Why don't you just say this, and then that'll kind of seal the deal.
yeah.
Where you're doing me a favor, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was clear that Laura didn't have any proof, because why would Alex be asking them to try to fake proof?
Yeah. Yeah. So really crazy.
Well,
Crazy stuff.
the whole accusing a man of molesting people is it's like a trump card thing. I mean, you throw that out there, and the guy's whether he,
Yeah,
if he
it's
did it or
hard.
not, he's done. He's screwed.
Yeah.
It's like a death sentence, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And it's hard to fight that, especially if you haven't done it at all, and then
And you have the mother manipulating the kids to say
Right.
that
Yeah.
it did happen.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
no wonder why this guy was broken, as they,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah. So, the one thing I wanted to, not one thing, but I want to talk about Alex a little bit, if you're done with that. Alex was he was a very interesting person. He was in the Mormon church, and like we said, he was excommunicated in 2007. He was like 45 years old and still not married. So Alex went down to South America a lot to try to find a woman to marry or to have a relationship with. He was excommunicated from the church, he told people, because he liked sex too much. Specifically, this one woman, Maria, and because he's in the Mormon church, he's not supposed to have sex before he's married. So he did have a brief relationship with this woman, Maria, when he went down. It was for a tour that these gentlemen could pay for with all of these women. She said it was kind of like, when she thinks back about it, it was kind of like trafficking. These guys saw a book of these women and would pick out the ones that they wanted. They'd have these parties with like 500 women around and only like 15 guys getting to pick these women. So it was kind of strange, and Alex was a part of this.
It's like a mail order bride type
Yeah.
thing, but you go there and pick your package up.
Yeah, and get to meet them and figure out which ones you want or which ones want you. Maria was an interpreter, so she was being paid by Alex to interpret for these women that he wanted to, talk to. And Alex said that he wanted after he was talking to these women, he was there for like 2 weeks, him and Maria developed a relationship. And Alex said at a point that he wanted to marry Maria, and she's like, he's 45, I'm 27, and all right, well, I really like him, so let's see, because they did have relations as well. And he took her to look for rings, and she thought, oh, this is cool, I've never done this before. Yeah, they're cool. He did she did consider moving to Arizona with Alex. She had a dog, and she really loved her dog, and she would not get rid of her dog. So she's like, well, I want to take my dog with me. And he's like, no, you're not taking the dog with you. You could get a dog while you're in Arizona. And she's like, And then she said when she moved to Arizona that she would like to start college because she wanted to advance her education. And Alex is like, no, you're not going to college. Why do you need to go to college? You know, you don't need that. You won't use it for anything. So it was kind of like
He didn't want her to become a Mormon.
well, I'm sure he didn't talk about that as far as I know.
Okay.
But I'm sure that would have come up too. But he was
Well, I just know that
excommunicated
Lori
as well.
was converting everybody.
So,
all
yeah.
her dead husbands had to convert themselves to
Yeah.
Mormons.
She's like, we can get married after you become a Mormon first.
I know. Yeah, that was something that Lori did a lot.
Yeah, I was wondering if he did too, because they seem real devoted
Yeah.
to that whole scene.
When Alex and Maria had relations a second time, she said it really scared her because she said his eyes looked so evil, like there was too much lust in his eyes. So she was really freaked out about him at that point. She said she still considered maybe moving, but you know, after all of that, she was just
How
kind
many
of like,
trips did he make down to?
I don't know how many, but he had gone down a number of times, people have said. So,
Yeah, because she mentioned
Yeah.
that. Mary was talking about how he would mention how
Yeah.
he one girl that he went after there. She just totally ghosted him and got over there, and he's like, he was really into her, and he was totally devastated. Had to fly all the way back.
yeah. So, yeah,
Hey.
he liked that look, I guess, the Latina-looking women. And they were basically, though, the women that he had wanted to have a relationship with were pretty much younger than him. So, Alex told Maria about his family, but never talked about his parents. So he discussed having siblings and that sort of thing, but he never really talked about his parents to her. Now, with Alex and the Cox family, and there are a lot of things that I think we're going to dive into as far as the Cox family is concerned. They really had no boundaries, especially when it came to, you know, sex and that sort of thing. So, meaning that they would talk about things that were kind of inappropriate in a family setting, even with children around. So, the one time we were talking about Mary being at the family home for a dinner, and she said it was very odd that Lori was just walking around in a bikini the whole time. Like, I know it's hot in Arizona.
Yeah.
They might have had the pool, but you kind of put a cover up on when you're in making dinner and that sort of thing. So she thought that was a little strange.
Yeah, Mary shared that was one thing at the party, like that he had made a joke about masturbation to his mom and to his grandma. And
Yeah,
like, that's
it
just
was
totally
just-
inappropriate. Like, who does that? It was just very odd. Made her even feel
Interesting.
uncomfortable, you know?
And another thing she did say was she thought that Alex's relationship to Lori was one that he had to take care of her, that it was obligatory for him to do what his sister wanted. So he also said that when she was with Charles, that the family, she thought that he felt happy that she was with him because he would take care of her, and the family felt that way as well. And I think that he even, like, from other videos that we've done, I think he paid their cell phone bills, not just for, you know, Lori and the kids. I mean, I think the extended family, like the mother and father, he would pay for their cell phone bills and that sort of thing.
Wow.
So Charles, I guess, was kind of like the golden goose who was, you know, actually taking care of them. Like you said, every Sunday they did do this book with the football games. What Mary said was she thought Tylee was even involved in this. So once the kids were gone and Lori just took off, why didn't they question? Like, they even did an interview with her mom, and she's like, you know, I don't think that anything's going on. I don't think. Well, if they did this religiously every Sunday, then she should know that the kids are missing and Lori's not around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like,
because they would
Lord be calling
in.
in. Like, why is she not calling in?
Yeah, so that was a red flag to her for sure. I did find out too that the Cox family did attend a vow meeting, so they also were into these beliefs that Lori and Chad had, because they all came from this kind of group, like a vow and preparing a people, and they were preppers and that sort of thing. So,
well, I mean, the whole Latter-day Saints movement or religious group is that we are in the latter days. I mean, that's what it means. We're in the end times. So the whole thing is end times, but
Yeah. Mary also thought, her belief is that Lori probably killed Tylee and brought, because of the cell phone pings from Alex, and then she called Alex to come over to help get rid of her.
Bodies. Get rid of the bodies. I
And
wonder
then,
you wonder how they did it. I mean, poisoned them or something? Or?
we don't know. That's
I
what's
know.
gonna
I'm
come
just
out
speculating
and,
because she didn't seem to be like physically violent, like she would. Lori wouldn't.
Yeah, and she was small, so I
shoot
don't know if she
people
could do
I
that.
feel like with children that they were gonna do
Poison.
poison would be easy for her to put in their water or something.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't know.
Yep. So.
And she believed that they were zombies, and
Exactly.
Well, she already believed that we're in the last days anyway, so it doesn't mean they won't even grow to be adults.
Yeah.
In her mind, of her story.
So, yep, that's what we have on Alex's friend Mary and Alex himself. And yeah, I guess anything else we want to cover as far as that's concerned? No. All right, and then we're going to say until next time.
Bye.